Well, now I've got something that I want to talk to you about that I've never mentioned on this show before. I need to go into a little history first to tell you how NewTrack started so you'll get a feel for why I'm asking this. About 2.5 years ago, I was invited, I think by Chris Lane, who is a editor and publisher for White River. He does the ON 30 and HO annuals and those kind of publications. He had a Zoom meeting and he invited me. And that's first Zoom meeting I ever went to. And I thought, geez, this looked like fun. And I met some people and could talk to them. And that I enjoyed that. Well, I had people who had been readers of my articles because I'd been writing the articles at that point for around 3.5 years. And I'd had people say, with this pandemic, we'd like to meet personally if we could. Some of the people you're writing about, why don't you do it digitally if you can figure a way to do it? And after that Zoom meeting, I thought, well, maybe Zoom is the answer. But as all of you well know, my technical ability is next to zero. So I had to have somebody help me to run the show. And I called Kevin McCumber, and I told Kevin what I wanted to try to start and asked him if he knew somebody that might help me. And he got me to Dylan Lambert. And Dylan agreed to be the technical expert behind our effort. And that's how Dylan and I started NewTracks on Zoom. Well, at first, we thought that we could only do it for 40 minutes because we didn't pay anything. It was all free at that point, or we used the free Zoom at that point. But it was at the very start of the pandemic scare. And we would run in an hour and a half. And Zoom never said anything to us, and we just kept going, no big deal. So we thought, well, as long as they'll allow us to do this, there's no point in paying anything for it. So we just used the free Zoom, and it wasn't costing anybody anything except our time and effort trying to put the shows together and run the shows and try to see if anybody was going to watch us or not. So that's how we started. Well, then Zoom decided, nope, you're going to have to pay us. So I wrote the check for Zoom. And then we decided, we had some other volunteers start helping us, and somebody said, well, we got to have a website. And I said, okay, how do we do a website and where do we get one? And they said, well, you need this and that and so forth. So I said, okay, and I paid for the website. So now we had Zoom that we could run as often as we wanted, as long as we wanted. And we had a website. And now all we needed was volunteers to help people both run the show for us and to do the website and to try to help us market the shows. So in order to try to raise some money so that me or nobody else was having to pay out of their pocket all the time to pay for the show, as well as finding the people to be on it, trying to get everything working right, and finding volunteers to help run the shows, I started looking for a funding source. And the idea I came up with was digital train shows. And so I talked to Dylan about it, and he agreed to do it with me. And so we had a digital train show. We limited it to 20 people, 20 small manufacturers. And I asked some of the people on the show to recommend the manufacturers they'd like to see in it. I had a list of manufacturers that I had been writing about in the past, and that's who I called. And I called all 20 of them. And I said, you get 5 minutes on our train show for $10. And so I had the 20 people sign up for our train show. And that was our first source of revenue, that train show. So then when the bills came around again, we could use that revenue to pay some of the bills. Well, the first train show went well. I forget now how many people viewed it. I think 400 was the total. I could be wrong. So we said, well, let's do another one. So we did another train show. And to make sure that that one went off well, I offered everybody that had been in the first train show the second train show for free, because I was doing them now about 2 months, and I wasn't trying to gouge anybody, and I didn't want to keep charging money if we didn't have to. So they signed up again for that, because now it was 2 train shows and each one of them cost them $5 for their 5 minutes on the show. And the train shows were running 3 hours, 3.5 hours. And Dylan was getting tired. And frankly, I was getting tired. And so we said, well, let's do another one. So we did another one, and we charged again $10 for the third one. And we filled up the third one. And we got some volunteers. And Greg Cassidy was one of the volunteers that helped us on those shows. And Greg can vouch. He spent untold hours contacting the manufacturers to make sure that we got their money, to make sure that they were ready for the shows, to make sure that everything was ready to go when we did the shows. Because again, we were running a show that was taking 3.5 hours to run it, with 20 vendors at 5 minutes apiece. And we banked that money. And the money that we made from those shows, in effect, then started to help us to cover the cost of the costs, the out-of-pocket costs that we had. Everybody else was volunteer, donating their time. Well, we tried to do a 4th train show. I raised the fee at that one to $25 a vendor, because at that point we had proved that the digital train show was a success. I think at our 3rd train show we had over 1,500, if I remember right, viewers of this train show, and we were getting comments back that they enjoyed the train shows because they were seeing vendors they'd never seen before. They didn't even know these small manufacturers were even out there. So we were giving an audience to the small manufacturer that was way outside the normal distance that they were traveling to go to a local train show. Everybody seemed to be happy about it. So the 4th train show I filled up. And I figured, well, that amount of money will be enough to carry us for a while, and I don't need to worry about the train shows for a while. Then we can break and continue them later. I couldn't find enough volunteers to do the 4th train show, and to make sure that the train shows continue to come off the way that we wanted them to, and to make sure that the manufacturers felt that it was worth their time and effort to participate. So even though we had the money in the bank for the 4th train show, I didn't feel comfortable to produce it because of the lack of help that we could get. So I canceled the train show and refunded everybody their money. And that was the end of the train shows for me at that point, because I just didn't feel comfortable asking the manufacturers that had supported us in the past to send in money and want to do it if I wasn't comfortable that we had enough volunteer help to make it possible. So we kept spending that money that we had made from the train shows as part of the way to cover the cost for the shows. Well, in July of this year, we had another opportunity for fundraising. And that's when we got at least 1,000 subscribers to our YouTube account. And YouTube allowed us to monetize. Now, I'm sure that you have seen on our videos that YouTube now we allow YouTube to place advertisement at the first of the shows and other places in the videos that we produce, because YouTube pays us a small amount of money for each person who views one of those advertisements. About 3 weeks ago, I guess now, I got an email from YouTube that said, well, you can also monetize your website and allow us to put advertising on your website. So I said, okay, that's another revenue source. We'll do that. So now every time anybody goes to our website and views one of the advertisements that YouTube has placed there, then we earn a little bit of money from that viewers view of that advertisement, whether it's on our website or it's on our YouTube. We also get benefits if whoever comes to our site hits the like button, what they read or saw, or if it's a video that they like the video, because from what YouTube has told us, the more likes that we get from the viewers, the more advertisers want to advertise with us. Therefore, the more money we can raise from the advertisers. So what I'm asking is, we need a source of revenue. We need a source of revenue to make the show, in effect, self-supporting, and not just self-supporting for me, but hopefully self-supporting for a long time. Whether it's me or whoever might replace me in the future, as long as the show is self-supporting, and as long as you're interested in seeing it, then I hope it can continue. And I'm trying to establish a revenue source that is not expensive for anybody in order to establish that. So what I'm asking you is, when you go to our website, and I hope you go every day, please look at the videos of the advertising. Click on those, because that means we earn a little money. You may take 2 minutes or more of your time to do it, but we're not asking you to take money out of your pocket. Just spend that little bit more time when you're looking at our website or looking at our YouTube video to try to earn us a little money, so that we have a self-sufficient revenue flow to fund the basic cost of our shows. Now, in addition to that, we have other things that we want to do, but I promised somebody that I wouldn't talk about those until next week. So that's a surprise that I'll hold till next week. But I didn't want to hold this anymore because we need to establish that revenue source. And that revenue source is viewers who like the concept of our shows, who go to our website for information, who look at the videos for information. Please click on the advertisement that's on our video so that we can have a self-sufficient source of revenue. So that's my plea for you. And I hope that everybody that hears this and views this, I hope that you can see your way clear to help us out.